Yeta. Aja. Yeta. We got. So that what's ya? Oh, bodam. Tell all the me. I from the OSP ni easy the neighbor. We got. Itiminya de minjai. Rade Jacopo. But the more ane ye come with ma home care nurses. I nyina at the basement na omo shabrofo. I hello Linda, where are you? What's proud of steps no ba? I obeji $20 an hour. I brody wa poso. Otigana near nurse the ababro chiro. Oti where's Linda? Debi otifon so amakwanye izo abrochire. Mami aminiti oh yes sir. Miss Oyenipo, share. Miss if you have been aduani o. On the not something ding me fana. Nam the Nakusi Park. No bubu pano amadabo sa. Miss Ejina way mua. O we nam the naba. Into a bano on near namate. Interior. Nama pebe bia manada. Nedrian say. Mokoni missy. The Driano croy cram into me new. Into a body bin a mato. Into sa okodana makwachibi. Or she basement say kura. As an amia nurse wagana. Oh bottom. I'm for peace FM no asempa no I hello hey ekua ni mo afre hey I okasa free Massachusetts I am for dey bia or time say ma me otete abrofo toilet no organ area nurse organ no oboa dey bia otefon so ne kunu hey mo akwanya agro me say na kobna school na kwesi san kobna so failure ye egu fado kobna so this year, Gomna Goji saying, Gomna Jimmy on an Amkajetia, Yamma Bruchi, Mamma Family, Yantiasia, I, Nana Quanquas, and pay also a rapper, and Antabi, I had a Mamma Bruchi or fire, you come with your channel on tick. Cause school also on court, were fairly uncle remedials also on yet, and or Tion or red, Nemamua Bruchi America, Nema met it abro for to basement, and what could you see, and your bear Benedane? This year, Miss Ninkratao, a Benedane, I want to see the Nipomuka Center, walk up Bruchi, in Tessiana, a bed and Wacon, or Sminimo. Tesiana inti awani bo tesia de me kwampo de mini mami ne maba me se ne baba penyin na something pa oba no busabusa question in some so bi amenti ase me ka kire me company kwampo san ko mun change me fa me nko omo so mami ba ko bi so yi eye New Jersey Orange County Kennedy Japan area ho ko ne de nke so ye baba ko so ko tena nche 2 weeks no wu ye inti de maba ha and when asem be se jai o she basement say kura or the Ghana loan ka we jai we twa ko tena brochire Oso no afre inshani aye wa brochire na Mahama de obedan kwasiato NDC for me de akromfo NDC for yesi akromfo yesi o tango for Rollins nkofo e de no metima yama Ghana on be man na Akufo ado ato aso o se basement se apetekura otete abrofo bini yento aso bodwa de age kakre yeah, me on to be a margin a running no. So when you're margin 3 to argue be plastic. The way I'm processing your man, me see be me process idea no. Say, oh, try so be processes are winging be ball. Yeah, me see be me brain way a process idea no. So what try to process things the way I process out. Why you know over dam? I dey bet you would draw some groom. Men try so be processes be a processor no. Because me process it immediate, intermediate, and future. Me process it quick. I know we say Kevin to when you know unim. Me see me processing your manu. Unim idea biao. I put myself in the whole situation into my mouth. So say they make you know unim. I broach for you know me processing gig ne dam tribuno. Jack could you pon kruma pono gig ne kura. All right, my mention be Mr. P, Mr. S, about 11:23. Our Ghana still almost on that. You bet you jum. My man, I'll cut a piece for you. Don't worry, boss. Now, this is another story. Me per se you can't want some, and it's got to do with a year. The besides, get me a screenshot of the petition against the EC boss, the OSP. I just need a screenshot to place on the system. Now, as some of the talks is here and I say, a OSP no, any a year EC boss and the deputies na the petition akoma president. President pushi petition no edi akoma eye akoma eye chief justice no. There's something going on. Now, I can tell you, sa petition na yedi koma chief justice no. Somebody from the OSP's office eliki sa petition no edi akoma City News. You see what they are doing? Enyumre ya o. Sa petition na President epushi dia koma Chief Justice na Chief Justice making sure say OSP any is in saka no. Is in saka ne there before OSP. OSP in saka petition na no likima City News. You see what Kisie Jabeng any the group ni ye. The OSP got that petition, the copy of the petition from the Chief Justice this afternoon. Now, the Chief Justice wrote to the OSP, forwarded the petition for his response. The moment the OSP received the petition, and Opushima City News is a omuliki petition in the system. And this is the diabolic thing. Kisie Jabeng and any and the deputies no the OSP's office. On Sandra Mekajam say Akurugu sexual harassment case be edan so OSP office. Kisie Jabeng has decided not to touch that matter. Now, and then I can tell you the OSP received the petition from the Chief Justice for his response. The moment he received the petition, no, and Odema Bernard Avlemo. And Okache City say omuliki petition no. So as we speak, City say they have come out to tell Ghana for say they have been able to intercept the petition from the Chief Justice to the OSP. And OSP and the petition no Emma Bernard Avle. And the Sky say they should leak the petition because they want to blow the matter up. They don't want anything to be in secrecy. They want to murder the case. Inti domo ya nene say omo pese omo nkofo no start enter case no say case ni basis. So say City Culture say they have intercepted the petition from the chief the petition that was sent to the OSP. Kisie Jabeng ene Samedako ene this petition ma City News. Yes. Samedako gave the petition to City for them to leak the petition. The Chief Justice told them in secrecy that I need your response. This is the allegations against you. We need your response. Why OSP Samedako Modema City. That is why Mr. S, get him the screenshot. City for say they have intercepted their line. Now, the last time I'm hear a scandal on OSP, Mekacham say Kisie Jabeng is one person onye truthful to Ghanaians. And then I may hear a scandal na Mekacham say OMCs na Mustafa Hamid mo ejiji sika omo hode koma ba omi akoye campaign no. OSP Embra Bontin Mekache say sa OMCs no sika se na ojiji omo ho. Now, so when you just go I don't want charge any of the OMCs. Ever seen the Oma answer? Fine. Now, do you remember Edu Boahene? Edu Boahene anas a scandal one who na oje bribe $40,000. Besides, get me the video. Oje $40,000 a leading to his sack and answer his resignation from Ekufuado's government. Mokai Edu Boahene. Yes. Mokai is a case, OSP, at the end of the day, was the one investigating that expose anas on Edu Boahene. Make sure who Kisie Jabeng is. Sa investigations, time a video ni ba out. Anas sa investigations na ye who say Edu Boahene aje $40,000. Yen yina ye video ni bi. And the catcher OSP say he is the one all yes investigations. Now the question here is Oya investigations, what did he discover? Say Oya investigations, Oya wie Then obeka che OSP we catch say Edu Boahene committed crime and I say uncommitted crime. Now say Edu Boahene uncommitted crime. Nyoma esi was investigations why was the OSP still following what actually happened? Me chuma adwuna ba bibi so. Me ka Charles Edu Boahene asem Charles Edu Boahene. Na oye Minister of State Finance. Okay, na owo Edu Ekufuado office no. Thank you, Mr. S. Now, I want to prove to you, say, Kisieja being on Kanokre. Now, see this letter. Me no baby read the letter we own. Time a Kisieja being investigating matter no. Obekachre say, Edu Boahene and commit crime biya after Anas expose no. Charles Edu Boahene. Now, when you read his own investigative report, let me put it on the screen. Point 614, 615, and 7. There's something in his own report. On one, Messiah, get me the first page because we need to let Ghanaians know. Say we are reading from the OSP's own report. Messiah, let me see if I can get it myself. Yes, my main for winch and send me the report to actually. Send me we are not about petition we ask them so. My mom who the kind of person Kisieja being is. Now, sir, investigations we and a Kisieja being yeah when Charles Edu Boahene assembled by make sure they think they can get away with murder. Make sure my dear. This is the investigation, sir. Charles Edu Boahene announced here an expose. Charles Edu Boahene bribe. Okay. Reports of investigation into alleged commission of corruption and corruption-related offenses involving Charles Edu Boahene. 30th October 2023. Mokai sa same way. There was a video na Charles Edu Boahene bribe. Anas here investigations your boy Anthony Cabo di wom, your boy Baumia di wom. Charles Edu Boahene was leading the pack. Mokai. OSP na yes investigations no. Now OSP investigations we no. At the end of after the investigations because we saw on camera. Na Charles Edu Boahene bribe of $40,000. Anas team no. Now OSP investigations we no. This is what he actually put out. And I didn't read I am reading from this report. When I'm done with this show, I will publish the whole report. I will watermark it and publish the whole report for every single Ghanaian to read. No matter who the kind of person this OSP is. And the all leaky, illicky, and yet petitions are Chief Justice Adakabre. Make sure who OSP is. Now, Messias. All right, team. So, in this report, this is what OSP wrote. My main kind. Baby, I'm marking a red in 6.14 and 6.15. I say, the undercover agents secretly, audiovisually recorded the entirety of both meetings. In the high political office he occupied, it ought reasonably to have occurred to Mr. Edu Boahene that his bargain for 20% of the value of the proposed investment and his receipt of a cash gift of 40,000 United States dollars from the supposed sheikh was outrightly improper. Now, Mr. Edu Boahene exhibited lack of sound judgment. His claim that he accepted that cash gift to avoid offending the supposed sheikh lies very thinly, and his suggestion of the payment of an appearance fee of 200,000 United States dollars to the vice president was quite reckless, especially as the vice president was unaware of the business he was conducting and had not asked him to demand money of whatever description conducing and had not taxed him to demand money of whatever description on his behalf. All the indices points to the conclusion that Mr. Boahene's principal motivation was in his own personal gain through his personal gain, though he intimated to the supposed sheikh that he was driven by the potential developmental benefits to Ghana of the proposed investment. The OSP show on the report to say, Boahene decision will take say Obeji Sika on behalf of Bawumia. Oji Sika $40,000. Na all kase in his interview no Boahene kase Sika Oji no sebio ebi okra Oji ma Bawumia dimu. Ena sebi also Oji na oferi shake ntina Oji Sika no. Ntina Oji na Osakra ka say Oji Sika ne say sebio shake investment obe no Ghana nti na Ghana mu ho do mom na eden e wona ko mu ntina manage sa sika na say otena sa meeting mienunum nti ono OSP ni chechi ma che say oya investigations no eno na Boahene ka kire no Boahene ka kire say sika $40,000 no any $200,000 na oji no oji no in the name of Bawumia any on one kasa so je 40,000 no oji sika no because one na oferi shake no and secondly na investment na shake say odeba Ghana no no hu ni say investment be boa Ghana pa na ono OSP no investigations obehu say eye de eye Boahene ye no na entwa kwan mu especially the position na occupy edwuma na odi ema aban ene sebio eye ni position no na nkeni say ogina mu egige sa sika no we OSP ankasa ano asem the investigations no ena mekan akire no ma menkyere wade. Now when you move to the point 7, the same OSP yen ready ade we there ade point 70, though the conduct of Mr. Boahene amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. Though the conduct of Mr. Boahene amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. Or say, even though the Boahene no, any boni etaro ho, it is a bonyono, would see a free nam ho. Sika oji wa camera mua, oji wa Bawumia dimu, on one gasa so eji ya every shake no, edi se mua. Or catch them say through sika wajeno or the babe influence say omubenya deal no and ono so ebenya percentage of 20% no ono OSP say or your investigation jina hu area no ohun say Boahene bo kro no ben kro no nenso anya kro no when it quacks like a duck, it is not a duck. That is what the OSP wrote in his own report. Me betra ade bin there. Point 7, OSP code him, this is what he said. On that reckoning, the special prosecutor directs the closure at this time of the investigation in respect of allegations of corruption and corruption-related offenses involving Charles Boahene contained in the investigative documentary titled Galamsey Economy, published by Tiger IPI. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. Or say, from the awatieti nyina ni hwehwemu a waye nyina no ne fapem ni nyina na say ohun ni say sa investigations anas ne team eye ya discover say eye Boahene gi contract mu 20% gi sika e wo camera $20,000 and $200,000 no. Or see, Sanyo mani nyina ni ehun se krono ne krono ho nsensem ni nyina no. Ono OSP die ne office no, omu hu krono bia wom. Na emom no, se imbre bi beba na se omu hu se krono wom die a, omu be se biem. Na se sie ni manim he pa die. Ono ne office ne die. Omu nhyeda hu krono bia Boahene occupies our position na wabo. We OSP ankasa the investigations in 2023. Into a close investigations, no. I mean, kind of last paragraph on the non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses engenders impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdles. And you have to say, you give you, hey, in so what you just be Mr. P. Makaya de Nasri. In Kwasiasabo, let me take it again. Making a grab me one or see the non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses and genders impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdles in a fight against corruption, especially in the public sector. On this score, the OSP calls for the passage of a Corrupt Practice Act to comprehensively codify the prohibition of all forms of corruption. Further, the OSP joins up with the positively persistent. Just say, Mama Sankai, they say the OSP did chair the enye, or see you could be a debia your friend, a year Corrupt Practice Act. A do I walk chrono, yes, Uncle Shimuno, or say do him more chrono. 40,000 now, watch it, chrono, 200,000 or G or come about me chrono. No, my advice say you could be what we call Practice Act, Corruption Practice Act. And no more brofuno, Mamma San kind of beam, me a mature idea. Could say, oh yeah, Zache will be a Mamma can last one. He's playing with grammar. Oh, some with Jimmy. Mamma San can be or say. So I'm for end of the year class. A for Bakwa for Obiana Din and the Medjum. Eh, and the Messia. The non-prohibition of most predicate acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses engenders impunity of malevolent conduct and the erosion of democratic tenets, which spawn formidable hurdle in the fight against corruption, especially in the public sector. On this score, the OSP calls for the passage of a Corrupt Practice Act to comprehensively codify the prohibition of all forms of corruption. The Kenyan say, "Jewu any the way nyina any hwehwemo no obema Ghana afutuo say anka ye bibia ye frɛ no ɛyɛ Corrupt Practice Act ɛno no brofo no the ochotwori nyina obeso kyerɛ say oh why investigations na wie edubu ahenje 40,000 bia 40,000 oje na nya kro no 200,000 na nya kro no inte edubu ahende ɔbɔ kro no bia ɔnkɔ owie na ɔka say ye ne enko bie ade ye frɛ no Corrupt Practice Act where point 7 further actions. Now my mention ade owie saa de we na oka sansem we kire ewie no owie na oka se dubu ahembo kro no Mamenka bibi nchiro. Allegedly OSP took money from Charles Boahene before he wrote this report. Allegedly, from my source. He took money from Charles Boahene before writing this report. And when he took that money, the AG then, Gofredame, got a hint of it and contacted and confronted OSP. Gofredame Mekajen Sabeboa. Gofredame heard that Charles Boahene had paid money to OSP to write the report in his favor. And when Gofredame got note of that, he confronted OSP and asked him, said, did you take money from Charles Boahene? But there was something. Because of the fear. You see, the reason why Boahene, Gofredame did not follow up or did not push was because he knew, say, it was going to come back to bite the government. It was going to expose the Kufuor government. Inti Gofredame approached OSP said, I have evidence that you took money from Boahene. And it's now trust our report we know. The OSP told Gofredame say yes, he did. But Gofredame could not push because he was also protecting his government. If that had come out, na Ghana for you be say Kufuor is a corrupt government. Into Gofredame also kept it quiet. Allegedly, that is what my source is telling me. But my mention, when they hear me, OSP investigations in no. I will catch as a Charles Dubois had 40,000, any 200,000, Ekomaba Umiano, on board chrono, the Uncle be act. No, this is what he did. After he wrote the report and told us, said Charles Dubois here, board chrono, then offer a chile and a ochro letter to come out Charles Dubois. What did he write? I mean, reading Chiro, November 3rd, 2023. I mean, in Canfa win Chiro. Wait, 30th October 2023. Into him, or releasing the final report on the 30th of October 2023, right? Or releasing report in you know, the 3rd of November. Report no, or releasing report on the 30th of October, right? And I'll catch a gun for say Dubois ball chrono, wajit $40,000, wajit $200,000 on ball chrono, in Tienko be act yatiasie. October no closing file no, or say and one on the case die, Dubois henko. Fine. Now, Oyerepa, what did he do? Just on the 3rd of November, and on OSP spiritual letter come Boahene. What did he write? I'm reading Chiro. OSP wrote to Boahene, and what he wrote was this. He said, in direction to attend the office of the special prosecutor, Charles Boahene, first full grip, close, blah, 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 blah. Now, by a letter dated 15 December 2022, you were directed to attend the office of the special prosecutor, OSP, as a necessary person in respect of an investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses contained in an investigative documentary titled Galamsey Economy, published by Tiger IPI and the investigative journalist Anas Arabiao Anas. By an investigation report attached, the special prosecutor has directed the closure of the investigations at this time. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. You are directed to disgorge yourself of the cash amount of $40,000 you received as a gift from the undercover agents who undertook the documentary by depositing the cash sum at the OSP at Haile Selassie Avenue, South Ridge, Accra, on or before close of business, Monday, 20th November 2023. Signed, Kisie Jabin. O close investigations in Vienna. And ocho letter koma eye Boahene say. Macleo, Makacha Ghana for say, Sikana Oji and any bribe. $40,000 now Oji and bribe. In fact, Ghana phone could be act. O we no letter come Boahene say for 40,000 Fabra in cash. Kisie Jabin. O clear Boahene wie no. Ah Okacha Ghana for say nyina ye Jimmy Boahene ball chrono. Now investigations now or your investigations in your no we who say $40,000 no G no and your chrono but owie no on the 3rd of November and or sure letter come Boahene catch Boahene say sa sika na ye investigate wo ho am catch Ghana for say wo chrono no sa sika na fabre me. Now the question here is so we see Boahene what clear no in your report in your investigations say he did not commit any crime. Why are you asking for that money? Because if that money so G and your chrono no boy, why you the OSP office demanding that money? Why were you taking the money? If the money he took in the first place in the documentary wasn't a crime. So what were you taking the money for? Well, and he's taking the money in cash. It is technically Fabra cash because you have told us in your report in October that the Boahene Sikana or J, Sa Sika or J, on board chrono. Sa sika no baby anywhere chese obo krono a wose prosecute no into Boahene nante uwi a wasa be chole tame Boahene so for 40,000 nembra na 40,000 na woje no on more krono had over $40,000 nembra. This is OSP's letter. The question here is, why didn't he tell us that he was demanding this money from Boahene? Why didn't he write in his report that because Boahene did not commit a crime, I am going to tell Boahene to bring the money? Or he did not commit a crime, so we are not going to take any money from him. Why didn't he write that in his report? Why didn't the Kisia Jabe one country say Dubai and Bokrono, and this Asicana who's origin and your chronosika? I didn't know one country Ghana. Now, such a letter will come at Dubai, and I didn't one in country Ghana for say, Sasikana, you say Dubai and edges a bribe, $40,000. Why didn't he tell us? Why did he even tell Dubai to even bring it as cash? Cash at the OSP's office to go and deposit at where? Why is the OSP taking cash? Why? The OSP, everything about him is corrupt. Kisia Jabe, every single thing about Kisia Jabe is corrupt. Be a born who be a corruption born who. This letter alone should send Kisia Jabe home. I have more. This letter alone. Letter because when a committee is put together, they will ask you in your own investigation. Because the first one I read this one. You said it clearly in there. You said, say, in a high political office he occupied, it ought reasonably to have occurred to Mr. Boahene that his bargain for 20% of the value of the proposed investment and his receipt of a cash gift of 40,000 United States dollars from the supposed sheikh was outrightly improper. Mr. Boahene exhibited lack of sound judgment. His claim that he accepted the cash gift to avoid offending the supposed sheikh lies very thinly, and his suggestion of the payment of an appearance fee of 200,000 United States dollars to the vice president was quite reckless, especially as the vice president was unaware of the business he was conducting and had not taxed him to demand money of whatever description on his behalf. All the indices point to the conclusion that Mr. Boahene's principal motivation was his own personal gain, though he intimated to the supposed sheikh that he was driven by potential developmental benefits to Ghana of the proposed investment. Now, say over the next letter I read to you, you said, though the conduct of Mr. Boahene amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts. There is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts, in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to further act. So his action, the money he took, the OSP, after your investigation, you came to the conclusion that he did not commit a crime. Now, if the OSP, after your investigations, you told us his actions that we all saw on camera did not amount to corruption or corruption-related any nonsense, why then do you write a letter to Boahene to bring you the $40,000? For what? What crime has he committed? What crime has Boahene committed for you, Kisia Jabe, to call him, to send a letter to him to present the cash to you? And you were demanding the cash after your investigations was done. And in your own letter, you told him that you are still thinking if it is necessary to open the investigations. You were threatening him. You were threatening him. So in this letter, he was telling him, say, one for cash number, maybe investigations. No. That's what he was doing. Because when you read the letter, let me expand it. I think the first paragraph. By a letter, or say, by an investigation report attached, the special prosecutor has directed the closure of the investigation at this time. The investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. So technically, Kisia Jabe is telling Boahene, say, if you don't adhere to what I'm trying to do with you, if you don't follow what I am saying, I have the power to open investigations again. So pay me the 40,000 and let me close the case indefinitely. And that is the code language he was sending Boahene. And he was demanding the money in cash. That means you still know the guy is guilty. The case can still be dealt. You can still delve deep. You can still find facts. But you have chosen to do what? Stop the investigations. Yes. You are using your own discretion. At that point, you felt you had to stop the investigations because it suits you. It's not because you need to prove to the people of Ghana that you can find rot. But you decide. You, at your own pace, you can choose to end an investigation. And if you feel some things are not done right, if you feel some people are not collaborating, you will reopen the case. So you see, OSP, he decides people's fate or decided. So technically, this language, he was sending a warning to Boahene and his group. Said $40,000 in Fabrem in cash. Why do you demand the money even in cash? Sikanian Fambra in cash. Why are you demanding the money in cash? You see, now, Charles Boahene and his lawyer wrote a letter to Kissie Jabin, and they said they are not going to pay the money. Why didn't he open the case? I'm telling Kissie Jabin to release that letter, or else I will release it. Kissie Jabin, the response from Charles Boahene, this letter, or the command, the lawyers of Charles Boahene wrote to you and told you they were not going to release the money. Why didn't you open the case? If you don't release it, I'm giving you a week, I'll release it. Me say, the lawyers of Charles Boahene, they wrote to Kissie Jabin, and Omkache Kissie Jabin said, we are not going to pay the money. Whatever you want to do, do. And Kissie Jabin ain't to me MBA case review. Now, I'm telling Kissie Jabin, say, release that letter, that response from Boahene's lawyers. If you don't release that letter, I will release it. We have been on air for 2 hours, 57 minutes. I got 3 minutes. Near now for 3 hours. I'll be back tomorrow. Me OSP and Kamera resigning on any 2 deputies quietly. Jemensa kware minyamba ne de so me OSP and Kamera resigning and adwi me name 2 deputies resigning. What is coming is shameful. Samedako Akurugu Kissie Jabin Mommy and Sam the reason why you are scared to resign is because you are scared of prosecution. There's a lot, and you people don't know there's a lot. So my advice to you, Kissie Jabin, release that response from Boahene's lawyers. They responded to you. They told you you're not going to pay. Why didn't you open the case? Why didn't you tell us that you have written a letter to Boahene to bring the $40,000? Why did you tell him to bring $40,000 after you have closed the case? If Boahene did not commit a crime, why are you now demanding for that money? Is that money yours? I was expecting Anas and his team to be asking for that money. If that money was a gift, you can call your gift back. But why is the person who gave the gift not asking for the $40,000? But you, who did the investigations and said he did not commit a crime, now demanding for the $40,000? It's a question for you to answer. I'll be back tomorrow to delve into some very important matters. Team, if I'm good to go, you can give me the green light to go home. I need to go see my family. I will see Ghana tomorrow. And if you have forgotten, this is the video Anas Moye Boahene ye chain say oje $40,000. Let me play the video for you to refreshen your mind a little bit, because this is the documentary 40,000 Boahene G na Kissie Jabin say obe Jeffrey Boahene wa Boahene lawyers say omuntua.
However, when it comes to president's president, do you suggest anything they should be preparing them in mind so that he can start putting some money?
You know, you mean like appearance fees?
Yeah, like if you know whether we are meeting them or they are meeting us as well.
Yeah.
And if we have that opportunity or privilege, what are some of the things that we have to
You know,
do?
the vice president is very keen to see investment into the country. You know, so if you come with 3 or 4 projects, you say, look, we are doing this, we're doing that, we're prepared to write a check for this, right?
According to Boahene, the vice president has a large family of siblings who have to be put in charge of various projects in order for the plan to work.
He has a big family.
Yeah.
The vice president has like 5 or 6 brothers and sisters.
Oh.
So what maybe will happen, you tell them that, hey, look, I want to do this project. They have somebody that I can work with that to introduce me to. And then you use that to maybe put his brother to work with us or one or two project. That's how we do it. So that's
Giving the vice president $200,000 as a thank you token would be enough, Boahene said.
I mean, he himself, if you give him some 200,000 or something as a token, thank you very much, that's fine. It's not really a very, it's not really that. All he needs to worry about is his campaign money in 2020.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And his development of businesses, So, there are some areas that he's very keen about that we've been working on, the railways, development of the railways, bauxite refinery, some things, So once we go, we sit down with him and you demonstrate that you're very keen to invest. I don't think it will be a problem. Especially the bank. If you tell them about the bank, you'll be very happy.
We'll keep communication and then see how we factor all of this thing that we can have.
How do you like to communicate? Is it through you or how?
He's in Ghana.
Okay.
So if any other communication you can pass it to happy to.
Thank you very much.
Boahene admitted that the cash gift would do a lot of shopping and then proceeded to gather it into a polythene bag.
We'll do a lot of shopping. Should I put it in a bag?
Yeah.
After all this, Kiseja had been told us Boahene did not commit any crime. His position, the kind of conversation he was having, telling them to give the vice president $200,000 as just a token to convince the vice president, and himself taking $40,000. Kiseja Ben ended up telling us that we need to go and open a new act. Boahene is not guilty of any crime. 10 days later, he writes a letter to Boahene to tell Boahene to bring the 40,000 in cash to him. Tomorrow, I will come and tell you something else.